So welcome all. Thank you for coming and participating in our Interfaith prayer meeting. This is number 79. And thank you, Bharathy Amma, for accepting to give a talk today.
Thank you, sir.
Acknowledging and honoring indigenous land and people. We acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation we call Australia, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander tribes were the first sovereign nations of the Australian continent. The Gadigal of Eora Nation are the traditional custodians of this place we now call Sydney, and the Wangal people are traditional owners of Burwood, where I live. Now we will listen to the music, and then one by one we can start reading.
Joining the chord, all the souls. Joining the chord, all the souls. Oh Lord, make these faces radiant through the light of thy oneness. Unite and bind together. Unite and bind.
Can hear.
Joining the chord, all the souls. Joining the chord, all the souls. Through the light oneness.
Can hear.
Together, the heart. Joining the chord, all the souls. Joining the chord, all the souls. Oh Lord, make these faces radiant through the light of thy oneness. Unite and bind together the hearts. Unite accord all the souls. Oh Lord, make His faces radiant through the light of Thy wonders.
O thou kind Lord, O thou who art generous and merciful, we are the servants of thy threshold and are gathered beneath the sheltering shadow of thy divine unity. The sun of thy mercy is shining upon all, and the clouds of thy bounty shower upon all. Thy gifts encompass all, thy loving providence sustains all, thy protection overshadows all, and the glances of thy favour are cast upon all. O Lord, grant thine infinite bestowals, and let the light of thy guidance shine. Illumine the eyes, gladden the hearts with abiding joy. Confer a new spirit upon all people, and bestow upon them eternal life. Unlock the gates of true understanding, and let the light of faith shine resplendent. Gather all people beneath the shadow of thy bounty, and cause them to unite in harmony, so that they may become as the rays of one sun, as the waves of one ocean, and be as the fruit of one tree. May they drink from the same fountain, may they be refreshed by the same breeze, may they receive illumination from the same source of light. Thou art the giver, the merciful, the omnipotent.
Noise. When once a man can see that all the diversity of contingent beings abide in one alone, and from that alone they radiate, then to Brahman he attains. Bhagavad Gita. Behold, how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity. As the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion, for there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. From the Old Testament Psalms. Ye have heard that it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father, which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. From the New Testament, Matthew 5, verse 43, 48. The purpose for which mortal men have from utter nothingness stepped into the realm of being is that they may work for the betterment of the world and live together in concord and harmony. Baha'u'llah.
And hold fast altogether by the rope which God stretches out, divided among yourselves, and remember with gratitude God's favor on you. For ye were enemies, and he joined your hearts in love, so that by his grace ye become brethren, and ye were on the brink of the pit of fire, and he saved you from it. Thus doth God make his signs clear to you, that ye may be guided. Be not like those who are divided among themselves and fall into disputations after receiving clear signs. Holy Quran.
Be united, speak in harmony, let your minds apprehend alike. Common be your prayer, common be the end of your assembly, common be your resolution, common be your deliberations, alike be your feelings, unified be your hearts, common be your intentions, perfect be your unity. Hinduism Rig Veda.
It is incumbent upon every man in this day to hold fast unto whatever so will promote the interests and exalt the station of all nations and just governments. Through each and every one of the verses which the pen of the Most High had revealed, the doors of love and unity have been unlocked and flung open to the face of man. We have erewhile declared, and our word is the truth, consort with the followers of all religions in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship. Whatsoever had led the children of men to shun one another and had caused dissensions and divisions amongst them, had, through the revelation of these words, been nullified and abolished. From the heavens of God's will, and for the purpose of ennobling the world of being, and of elevating the minds and souls of men, hath been sent down that which is the most effective instrument for the education of the whole human race. Of old it hath been revealed, love of one's country is an element of the faith of God. The tongue of grandeur hath, however, in the day of his manifestation proclaimed, it is not his to boast who loveth his country, but it is his who loveth the world. Baha'u'llah.
The purpose of one of the true God, exalted be his glory, in revealing himself unto men, is to lay bare those gems that lie hidden within the mind of their true and inmost selves, that the diverse communions of the earth and the manifold systems of religious belief should never be allowed to foster the feelings of animosity among men, is in this day of the essence of the faith of God and his religion. These principles and laws, these firmly established and mighty systems have proceeded from one source and are the rays of one light, that they differ one from another is to be attributed to the varying requirements of the ages in which they were promulgated. Baha'u'llah Gleanings.
O children of men, know ye not why we created you all from the same dust, that no one should exalt himself over the other? Ponder at all times in your hearts how ye were created, since we have created you all from this one same substance. It is incumbent on you to be even as one soul, to walk with the same feet, eat with the same mouth, and dwell in the same land, that from your inmost being, by your deeds and actions, the signs of oneness and the essence of detachment may be made manifest. Such is my counsel to you, O concourse of light. Heed ye this counsel, that ye may obtain the fruits of holiness from the tree of wondrous glory. Baha'u'llah, the hidden words of Baha'u'llah, number 68. Thank you.
We work and pray for the unity of mankind, that all the races of the earth may become one race, all the countries one country, and that all hearts may beat as one heart, working together for perfect unity and brotherhood. Praise be to God that our efforts are sincere and that our hearts are turned to the kingdom. Our greatest loving is that the truth may be established in the world, and in the hope we draw near to one another in love and affection. Each and all are wholehearted and selfless, willing to sacrifice all personal ambition to the grand ideal towards which they strive. Brotherly love and peace and union amongst men. Abdul Baha.
The sweetest water in the world, the sweetest water in the world, the sweetest water in the world. Why don't we drink it? I see a man dying, crawling through the desert, struggling to survive. He was praying to God to deliver him from his thirst and begging not to die. The sweetest water in the world,
Sweetest water in the world,
the sweetest water in the world,
sweetest water in the world,
the sweetest water in the world. Why don't we drink it? I see the world crying, drowning in a sea of dust, needing love to quench its thirst, searching for answers, searching to understand. Yet things are getting worse. We're looking for the sweetest water in the world,
sweetest water in the world,
the sweetest water in the world,
sweetest water in the world,
the sweetest water in the world. Why don't we drink it? I see the blessed beauty standing with outstretched arms, a look of love in his eyes, and flowing from his hands like crystal mountain springs. the pure water of life. He's got the sweetest water in the world.
The sweetest water,
The sweetest water in the world.
sweetest water in the world.
The sweetest water in the world. Why don't we drink it? Why don't we drink it? The sweetest water in the world.
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 The sweetest water in the world. Why don't we drink it? The sweetest water in the world.
The sweetest water.
Sweetest water in the world.
Welcome to you all. Thank you for the readers. And we have many new participants. We welcome you all. By names, and Vijaya, Janagi, Karthik, Siva, Jogal Singham, Magal Sivanation. Welcome you all. And this is interfaith meeting that we, as a family, personal initiative, we started 79 weeks ago. And we invite friends to give talk on any topic that they are passionate about that is conducive for unity. And I met, I listened to Uma Bharathy. She was giving a talk at the Meditation for World Peace that is conducted by friends in UK. Every day they have 3 sessions, and in one of those sessions, she was giving a talk, and I was impressed, and I asked her whether she could give a talk in English, because her talk was in Tamil. To the audience in our interfaith meeting, she agreed. She's a busy person, but she has kindly agreed to spend some time with us. We like to remind here the friends from all walks of life with different beliefs and different ideologies, but we try to journey together to unravel the truth and bring unity. So I like to remind this quote from the Universal Laws of Justice, that is the supreme administrative body of the Baha'i faith. They said that whether through deeds or words, the merit of your every contribution to social well-being lies first in your resolute commitment to discover that precious point of unity where contrasting perspectives overlap and around which contending people can coalesce. So we may have, after the talk, we may have questions and discussions. The opinions may be varying, but if we are trying to do something good for the society, the merit is in trying to find the precious point of unity among the contrasting perspectives. So I like to remind all of us that we are taking this journey to find the truth collectively. And yes, today Bharathy Amma, she is going to talk about Bharathy, an essay writer. This picture here, for the benefits of those who don't know who is Bharathy, is the picture of Bharathy. He's a great Indian poet who was living 100 years ago. And she is a great granddaughter of Bharathy. So she has all the rights and knowledge to tell us about him. Now, I will share her brief. I didn't get her brief introduction. She sent it just now, so I want to. That is in Tamil, but we will read together. This is Kavinyar R. Uma Bharathy. That's her full name. Kavinyar means poet. She herself is a poet. So she is Bharathy, the poet Bharathy's sister's great granddaughter, and she has got qualification, MA in public administration, and also she is qualified as a lawyer. And she has got some qualification in computer, internet, and many. In Madras High Court, he is assisting the lawyer as a lawyer's advocate's assistant, and she is a good speaker and debater, and many abilities in Tamil. And she got many awards for her for her work. And she is also an editor of Tamil newspaper and Duwali monthly newspaper. So we welcome now Bharathy to give her talk. I will post this one. So you can unmute and talk.
எண்ணிய முடிதல் வேண்டும் நல்லவே எண்ண வேண்டும் திண்ணிய நெஞ்சம் வேண்டும் தெளிந்த நல்ல அறிவு வேண்டும் பண்ணிய பாவம் எல்லாம் பரிதி முன் பனியே போல நன்னிய நின்முன் இங்கு நசித்திடல் வேண்டும் மன்னாய். A very happy evening to one and all present here, and a warm thanks to Shivaya and Vasanta Amma for giving me this memorable opportunity to be with you in this evening to share about my great grandfather Mahakavi Subramanya Bharathiyar, who is known as Bharathy. I take immense pleasure to share about his essays. We were known about him that he was a great Tamil poet a patriotic, a publisher who published newspapers like Sudeshamitran, India, and also he published one magazine named Vijaya. You know, Bharathy as a phenomena. The word Bharathy itself means the name of goddess Saraswati, who is meant for education. So, the Bharathy is the award name given to Subramanian, given by the Etayapuram Maharaja for his great Tamil poems. At the age of 9, he has got the name as Bharathy. The name of goddess Saraswati is Bharathy, as I told earlier. Even today, it is very hard to describe about Bharathy in words. Whenever we think of Bharathy, his thought would even give us goosebumps to any one looker. He was a scholar par excellence, champion of social justice, youth icon, a famous journalist, a famous poet, and a writer, etc., etc. And of course, he is a famous musician as well as a singer. He used to write songs of his own and he composed himself with raga and tala. He used to sing by himself. He is a very good singer also. He has a very good, tremendous voice and he liked to sing it as well. So, our Tamil Nadu and India are indeed proud owners of his rich legacy, same as my family. Bharathy holds an unique power and an attraction towards the people which attracts the scholars, policymakers, researchers, educationalists, and even a layman to understand the phenomena that is Bharathy. In spite of this, some tend to restrict Bharathy into a small circle poetry. But it would be a great disservice to him, as he was beyond his poetry, even though his poems has given a revolutionary impact, and there is no doubt about that. Prose literature in Tamil is relatively young, as is the case of many Indian languages. It is true, in the ancient epic of Silappatikaram, a few passages of poetic prose is found. Hence it was called a poetical work interspersed with prose pieces. So, and then when the age of great commentators was born around 14th to 17th centuries, prose was used in commentaries to Tolkapia. Kankam literature, Tirukkural, and a few other works. Today we need explanatory notes to understand the commentators' chaste Tamil. Western literature, though the medium of English education, perlocate to the intellectual psyche of the Indian writers, and as a result, modern prose patterns slowly and steadily came to be introduced in Tamil and other languages. Saint Romalingar, Arumuga Navalar, Vedanayagam Pillai, they were considered as the author of the first novel in Tamil. These were some of the forerunners of the second half of the 19th century. Subramania Bharathy, who began his writing career in 1905, was a journalist and had ample opportunities to develop a simple but vibrant style of prose in Tamil language. Apart from being a harbinger of renaissance in Tamil poetry. Bharathi's creative energy also flowed forth majestically in myriad forms of prose writings, short story, novel, political notes, and thought-provoking essays. His bold experiments in prose literature run into several thousand pages. Subramania Bharathy was conscious of the fact that the modern prose is new to Tamil literature, and he took it as his duty to enrich the same. He wrote that Tamil prose is just born. Not many years have passed since its birth. The saying goes that practice learned in the cradle laws up to the grave. We used to say it in Tamil, Tottil Pazhakkam Sudugadu Mattam. As like, therefore, we should take efforts to ensure clarity in our prose. We are not very much surprised at the prophetic remark of Bharathy, since he was convinced of his role in nurturing, developing, and energizing model Tamil prose with his inimitable new style. He had definite views on the characteristics of modern prose. He said, I am of the view that prose should be written in a style nearer to the common speech. It should be like a common speech, then only the common people can understand the prose of everyone. So, whatever you wrote, a story or a logical argument, science or a journalistic subject, it will be good if it resembles the spoken word. Another important element in writing prose, according to him, is the clarity of thought in the subject one writes. He insisted that one should take care to plan and preconceive the subject in his mind before putting it on paper. So we must be very clear of what we are going to write. This is his main ambition and he is insisting it as a main thought. So he used to say that if there is sincerity and courage in heart, the hand automatically writes the correct sentence. Bharathi's mastery over contemporary English and French literature was well vouched for, and he made use of this rich knowledge to create new idioms, new vocabulary, and new expressions in Tamil prose. During his lifetime, Bharathy was not able to see most of his prose works and essays in book form, because after his death only his wife Challamma Bharathy has given it for publications. So it got printed in later days after his death only. So political writings like Pudiya Kaatchiyin Kolgaigal, that is the ideals of the new party. He has written it in 1908. Yangal Congress Yatrai, our journey to Congress, that's also written in 1908. Bharat Jana Sabha, part 1 and 2, in 1919 and in 1920, he has written. Also, he has written a storybook called Jnana Radham, that is the Chariot of Wisdom. It was written in 1910. And Aril Oru Pangu, that is 1/6. And a few translations of Tagore were published before 1921, that is before his death. This all thus was published before his death itself. The vast prose material saw the light of the day only in 1935, when Bharathy Prasuralayam published them long years after he passed away. It is notable that even at that time, many of his essays and stories had been buried unseen in choking dust of the storerooms of old newspapers and in the library collection of foreign countries. Mr. P. Thuran, R.A. Padmanabhan, C.N. Viswanathan, Chidambaram Ranganathan, and Manian and Ira Venkatajalapati toiled hard to find out and publish in later years of the hidden treasures of Bharathi's writings by their diligent and devoted search. It is believed that further research is bound to yield more such works of Bharathi in future, because people have been finding and going on making research on his poems, his essays, and every one which was published by him. The narrative patterns of Subramania Bharathi in his stories generally follows the Indian traditional storytelling method. In spite of his knowledge in the technique of Western technology and narratology, he was fond of our own methodology. Navaratna Kadaigal of Bharathi follows Pancharatna narrative format. Another notable features of his stories is the autobiographical stream, which is discreting a reader can identify with ease. Chinna Shankaran Kadai, the story of Little Shankaran, and Jnanaradam, already I told you, the Chariot of Wisdom. A voyage of fantasy show this dominating element in Bharathi's storytelling. The bubbling humor in the first work and the poetic prose in the second work bear witness to the rich variety in his narrative art. Subramania Bharathi wrote almost everything under the sun, from physical culture to the national fraternity, from the language of the crows to the October Revolution, and from the little sparrow to the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. He considered himself as a mentor to the masses at the times. His tone resembled that of a guru sitting on a high pedestal teaching to the common people. Come, my people, come. Come, my dear brothers. If one or two amongst us try to follow the honest path, obstacles plenty occur. And so people who wish to follow honest means lose courage. Come, men of the world, let us walk in the path of honesty in great numbers. He used to tell these words in a meeting always. Sometimes, at the sight of staunch conservatives who refused to see the realities, his language breathed fire. He used to get anger often against the evils. He wrote, "Hear, O coward, you who have become an old man before aging. You who have become a hunchback overburdened with the superstitions, faith and blind beliefs. You who refuses to believe yourselves. Hear me." He sit in the front of people and used to say like that in anger. His prose condensed itself into an epigram when his deep thoughts and sharpened language intertwined themselves into a sentence. See, what kind of a world is this earth? Ever cheating, ever deceitful, ever anxious, and uncurable diseases caught up the mankind, irredeemable curse, irredeemable poison. The name of it is money. He used to say always, money. People are going behind the money, and money. Subramania Bharathi was a devout Hindu, but at the same time, he believed in the sanctity of all religions. The hand that wrote the Shakti cult, he used to write about Parashakti in all his poems always. And he never swerved from giving equal status to other religions. And his articles, The World of Jesus Christ and the glory of Islam, speak loudly of his commitment to the emulation of all religions. He considered casteism as a curse of our country, and he has described it as a mockery, great mockery, in one of his articles. Readers can find his virulent attack on the evil of casteism in all his essays. Who is a Brahmin? He has written an essay, Who is a Brahmin? And the caste of turmoil. This is also a essay written by him. He was a social reformer to the core. Women's freedom was dearer to his heart. He had immense respect and love for Mahatma Gandhi and Swami Vivekananda. But when both these great men have contradictory opinions regarding widow remarriage, Bharathy not only preferred to differ from them, but also criticized them in the strongest possible words. Why? The pathetic state of widows in India, and another one, Swami Vivekananda's views of the status of women, because he was very much against about the sayings of Mahatma Gandhi and Swami Vivekananda regarding the widows who are pushed inside the caves like rooms inside the houses. So he is against that widowism, and he has given 10 commandments regarding the women, that she should not marry before the puberty, and she has to select a person who she loved much, and she can get remarried, and she is having an equal right with the men. So the property which is the ancestry property, or the property which was bought by the father of the family, the girl is having the equal right to have the share out of the property. And in one of his essays on national education, he presents a comprehensive plan for school education in independent India. One wonders at the prophetic vision of Bharathy in making the youth of the nation the proud inheritors of the best from our tradition and the modernity of the West. He reiterates categorically that all the subjects in the curriculum should be taught in one's own mother tongue. He is very particular about that. If in Tamil Nadu something like national education is started, and if without giving importance to Tamil, English becomes the major medium with Tamil as a subordinate one, there is no doubt that that will end as a system opposed to the meaning of the word national. We should loudly proclaim that Tamil will be used as the first instrument in the Reformation. Let this be an eye-opener to all those concerned in introducing and encouraging foreign tongue as the medium of instruction in today's India. He has written like that in that ancient stage itself. The imaginative mind of Bharathy was capable of drawing panoramic pen pictures in Tamil prose. The thought-provoking essay on the house sparrow resembles the fine stroke of a painter. The nose resembling the small grain, small eyes, small head, white neck, beautiful, dim silken, white stomach, grey colored silken back, small feathers, tender legs, all this can be caught within a newborn's hands. He has written like that. In the fantasy-filled Chariot of Wisdom, Bharathy describes the damsel of the Gandharva land in enchanting words. See, a face that radiated the moonbeams. On her head, a small-sized crown of flowers. Two dark eyes verily the springs of intoxicating drink, in which the soul, a honeybee, had fallen and lost its wings. How his comparison it is, And teeth not for eating, but for being eaten. A very good saying of him, to enjoy with his language. Visionary as he was, no new development in literature, art, politics, or social reform in the world escaped the keen sight of Bharathy. For example, the new poetry movement in the West was a latecomer in many Indian languages, but Bharathy captured the spirit of Walt Whitman's experimental poetry and Japanese haiku in his essays. Very early days, in his even very early days, he has given haiku. Wide Japanese poem in 1916. No wonder his kachi, experimental prose, the name kachi, experimental prose poems, gave the fillip to the new generation poets to initiate the new poetry movement in the 1930s. While admitting the haiku poem is really a miniature epic, he has also warned that it is not a good sign of a poem to get shrunk too much. This remark shows that he always came to a decision only after weighing the pros and the cons of the concerned matter. As was stated earlier, Bharathy was constantly in touch with the happenings around him, and he was consciously recording them as an expert in history. For instance, he has written 6 essays on Kerala and Malayalam language with a keen insight on its history, social customs, and literature. His references to the Narayana Guru, Tanjaya Eluthan, Tunjat Elutachan, and the Nambudiri community show another dimension of Bharathy, namely his vigilant approach to the contemporary events. By April 1907, he started editing Tamil Weekly India, the English newspaper, Balabharadam, with MPT Acharya. These newspapers were also a means of expressing Bharathy's creativity, which began to peak during the period. Bharathy started to publish his poems regularly in these editions. From hymns to nationalistic writings, from contemplations on the relationship between God and man to songs on the Russian and French revolutions, Bharathy's subjects were diverse. During his Pondicherry stay, he edited and published the weekly journal India Vijaya, a Tamil daily Balabharata, an English monthly, and a Suryotayam, a local weekly in Pondicherry. The British tried to suppress Bharathy's output by stopping remittances and letters to their papers. Both India and Vijaya papers were banned by British India in 1909. Bharathy assisted Aurobindo in the Arya Journal and later on Karma Yogi in Pondicherry. The 2 journals he assisted Mr. Arvinder. We know Arvinder, a yogi of Pondicherry. This was also the period when he started learning Vedic literature. He resumed editing Swadesamitran, the magazine, from 1920 in Chennai. That is, modern days it is known as Madras. So, though Bharathy died so young, he cannot be reckoned with Chatran and Keats among the inheritors of unfulfilled renown. He was a name to conjure with at any rate in South India, while he was still alive. His thoughts are still alive in our hearts. But his fame was not so much as a poet of a patriot and a writer of patriotic songs. He is also a very good essay writer who has given us social reforms through his essays. His loudly expressed admiration for Tilak also, Balagangadhara Tilak. His fierce denunciations in the Sweetest paper and the fact that he had to seek refuge in French territory to escape the probing attentions of the government of Madras made him a hero and a freedom fighter. His lighting songs were on numerous lips, and no procession or public meeting in a Tamil district in the days of non-cooperation could begin. Carry on, it is end with the singing a few of them Bharathy's love of Tamil, both the language as it was his own day, the rich literature left as a heritage, was no less than his love of India. His essays have reached the people and undoubtedly gave a fame to him. Let me finish off this session with one of his famous poem in Tamil, Manadil Urudi Vendum. Before that, I complete my talk. I wish to thank one and all who present here, and Shiva sir and Vasanta Amma for giving me this great opportunity to talk about my great-grandfather and regarding his essays over various subjects. I once again thank you one and all present here, and let me complete the session with a song, Manadil Urudi Vendum. Manadil Urudi Vendum, Manadil Urudi Vendum, Vakinile Inimai Vendum, Ninaivu Nalladu Vendum, Nerungina Porul Kaipada Vendum, Manadil Urudi Vendum, Kanavu Meipada Vendum, கைவசமாவது விரைவில் வேண்டும், தனமும் இன்பமும் வேண்டும், தரணியிலே பெருமை வேண்டும், மனதில் உறுதி வேண்டும், கண் திறந்திட வேண்டும், காரியத்தில் உறுதி வேண்டும், பெண் விடுதலை வேண்டும், பெரிய கடவுள் காக்க வேண்டும், மண் பயனுற வேண்டும், மண் பயனுற வேண்டும், வானகம் இங்கு தென்பட வேண்டும், உண்மை நின்றிட வேண்டும். ஓம் 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 ஓம். Thank you all. வந்தே மாதரம். வாழிய செந்தமிழ், வாழ்க நற்றமிழர், வாழிய பாரத மணித்திருநாடு. வந்தே மாதரம். வாழ்க பாரதி, வளர்க அவரது புகழ். ஜெய்ஹிந்த். Thank you one and all.
Thank you very much, Bharathy Amma. You have taken us to an area which we are not very familiar with, though we are Tamils. Most of us, or at least myself, I know him, Bharathy, as a poet, and his poems, the songs like that you're singing. But his contribution to the literature and the social reform in way of writings and being editor of many newspapers and magazines. I will open the floor for friends to ask questions or comments. If you don't mind, you can raise your hand using the reaction button like this. So Marina has put her hand. Yes, Marina.
Thanks for the lovely talk. And I just want to know, do they still use those Bharathi's poets in schools in India? I mean, I remember when I was at school, they used to do it. Do they still do it? I just want to know just for knowledge sake.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Nowadays, his poems are given as in syllabus of our students. So, people used to sing Bharati songs in school itself. They have been singing the songs, and they have conducting so many sessions regarding Bharati, because this year is the centenary death of him, as he has died on 1921. So from September 2021 to September 2022, India has been celebrating this centenary year for entire session of Bharatis. So students and college goers and public has been proclaiming Bharati as their own god. They are treating him as his god, and they have been singing his song very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma. I also want to know, how did you feel when you were at school? They would have had the poets of your great grandpa. How did you feel during that time as a student in the high school or primary school?
Yeah. See, it is great. I told in my speech early times that whenever we say the word Bharati, we will be having a goosebumps. So that even now I am getting that goosebump when I used to say Bharati. Since because I came from his legacy, I feel so much of proud. And my great grandmother used to say always about Bharati, because my great grandmother is the own sister of she is the sister of Bharati. So she called him Anna. Subramania Bharati, his childhood name is Subaya. So she used to call him Subayana. My Subayana says like that, my Subayana says like that. That here and there, whenever she talked, she used to talk about his Anna. So in this, from my childhood days, I am very proud that I belong to his family, and I take proudness in my heart always.
So you all still sort of give the respect to Bharati as how you give the respect to Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah, ma'am. Mahatma Gandhi is our nation's father. He is our nation's father who has got us freedom. But unless we have the songs of Bharati, the nation would not have got freedom. That is my great opinion, because all have unitedly got the freedom of our country. So we have no difference between Mahatma Gandhi and Subramania Bharati, because these two legends have united together and struggled for our freedom.
Thank you for your talk today, Ma. I really appreciate it. It brings back my school days memories. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mentioned that on the issue of widow, that Swami Vivekananda and
Mahatma Gandhi
and Mangamma and had different views to that of Bharati. What did they say, and how was the public opinion at that time?
Yeah, let me tell. Mahatma Gandhi said that see, if lady widows are becoming higher, he has made an effort that gents also should be like that. Mahatma Gandhi said, gents also should be like that, like the lady widows who are kept inside the house. But Bharathy was against his phenomena that the lady widows has to get remarry. So they have to get into another life, as they are very early days they have become widows. And he insisted all the women who become widows in early stage to get studies, education. They must get education and they must have to come out of the house. It happened in our family itself, because my great grandmother Thangammal, I mentioned in my profile, her elder sister is namely Sharadambal, who is also the sister of Bharathiyar. She has become a widow at her age of 11, because she got married at the age of her 10, and her husband dies at the age of her 11. She has become a widow. When Bharathi came down from Kashi, that is Varanasi, he visited the Chitapa's house, that is sister's house, and his grandparents' house, and saw the Sharadambal in a widow form. He shouted at his Chitapa and Chitti that it should not be happened to her and another girls, even to any one ladies in this world should get this stage. And he has got very much anger on his Chitapa, and வீட்டுக்குள்ளே பெண்ணை பூட்டி வைப்போம் என்ற விந்தை மனிதர் தலை கவிழ்ந்தார். That sayings has become meant for my great grandmother, my own great grandmother's sister, Periyapati, my Periyapati. The same thing happened to my Periyapati, and he has shouted against, and he has made a reform in our family itself. And he made that Sharadambal party to come out of the house. He made her to be educated, and she has taken my grandmother, Mrs. Kalyani, to take out of the town of Etayapuram for her higher studies, and he made my great grandmother Sharadambal to give her education out of the city. So he has given education to a widow, and he has made her come out of the house. So he is totally, entirely different from the point of view of Mahatma Gandhi as well as Vivekananda.
What did Vivekananda say?
Vivekananda said means they should be given everything. That is, they should not be shut into the house, but they should give every rights to them. That's all. That's all Vivekananda said. But revolutionary was taken by, insisted by Bharathi. Another step, initiative taken by Bharathi.
Thank you. Glad to know that one of the important teachings of Baha'u'llah is the equal rights for women in every respect, and also education. So I'm glad to hear that. Young, you want to ask a question? You have to unmute and talk.
Thank you very much, Siva and Uma. It was wonderful to hear your singing. And
thank you.
And I am so lucky to hear your lecture.
The pleasure is mine.
Just to let you know that I study social reform and social class struggle, but in English literature, and talk about Europe, French, and all the other nations, but not in the East. So but what I'm saying is, there's nothing wrong with a class, what you call caste system, unless people exploit each other or exploit one another by their class. By you go I talk about class struggle, but you talk about caste system, because if you believe me, if a family got like 8 children, and mom and dad cannot afford to send everyone to university, and so they had to pick up the smart one, the intelligent one. But we had to take into account some children were born difficulty, so from childbirth they get disadvantage. Like they come out and they're not normal or they disabled or they mental problem or whatever. So therefore, the idea that to rescue them or to help them, to send them to university is a job because parents cannot afford to feed everyone, every kid. So that will be the job of the state or the government. So the government had to look into the plan, how to develop all these people that will not be falling into what you call superior class.
Yeah.
So what you do about the people who not in a superior class? Because all these people, they're not lucky and they not be punished by God. Because if some culture, they said, oh, it's a shameful, my kid is got autism, for example, or he cannot walk or he got problems. But so they think it's shameful, but actually they just creation from God. So how you say about how we provide a fair quality and just and love and human rights?
Yeah.
Because we cannot say, okay, we list them into not superior class because they were born not normal, because they need oxygen, because mom and dad did not have facility to go to the the rich hospital. So the kid born with problem at birth, so they don't have oxygen, so they become not so clever. So then when they selected to university, this kid will fall out. Will falling out. That is my point. How you balance the act.
Yeah. Actually, Bharathy used to say in Tamil, Zadigal illayadi papa kulathalchi uyarchi sollal pavam. Because he told that there is no caste difference between people. He insisted that even though he is a Brahmin, he has removed his sacred thread over his body and he removed it because the caste system arrived in India and he is against that caste system. So he has made one lower caste people which was told in that days, and he has made sorry, I am muted. Okay, he has made one lower caste which was known as the lower caste during that period, and he has made him to wear that sacred thread, and he has made Upanayanam of him. Upanayanam means wearing the holy thread. So Bharati is against the caste system. See, nowadays people are very much aware that people are appreciating the intercaste marriage and everything in India. So it is not become a very wrong aspect or like that in India. Nowadays it has become a usual one. So we do not find any difficulties over as what you say.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Any other friend wanted to talk or ask something?
Yes. Colin, Jenny, Vanessa, Panja.
Yeah, I can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
I remember studying these Bharatiyar poems in my Tamil primary school in Malaysia, and many of his expressions and meanings and social reformative poetry was very, very touching. Until today, it remains in my heart. And I love certain reformatory ones like Nenju Porukudillaiye.
இந்த நிலை கட்ட மனிதரை
நினைந்து விட்டார்.
அஞ்சி அஞ்சி சாவார் இவர் அஞ்சாத பொருளில்லை
அவனியிலே. வஞ்சனை பேய்கள் என்பார், அந்த மரத்தில் என்பார். So these are some of the things.
Even though you study in your primary days, you remember it. That is the main thing. And that is the main achievement of Bharathi's poems.
Yeah, I grow along this kind of poetry and songs and social reforms.
Super.
And also from the very young days, you know, the other songs for children is Odi Vilayadu Papa.
Yeah, yeah.
Odi
Vilayadu Papa, நீ ஓய்ந்திருக்க
பாப்பா கூடி விளையாடு பாப்பா ஒரு குழந்தையை வையாதே பாப்பா. So etc. So these meanings and these virtues they teach sunk deep into my heart.
Yeah.
And from there, Mahatma Gandhi's history, the love for Tamil language and all, that was my nurturing strength.
Yeah, definitely.
And along that, I find that when I grew up, I came across the Baha'i religion.
Okay.
And I find that this Baha'i faith is the one which practices all these teachings of Bharathy. So there's a lot of connection with interconnectedness between the Tamil Indian world where Bharathy wrote and what the Baha'i writing says today. You know, so it's really making me happy that I'm on the right track. And
so
I'm
nice of you.
And I'm practicing it. So
Okay.
to me, there's no caste, and we are all one. The unity of all the races and religion has been thought about in India long ago. But the sad thing is, they are not practicing it. And many are having this prejudice, you know, the high caste, low caste cannot fall in love. They burn them alive and all. This is very tragic. And I just always regret a lot that how India must transform and it will be a nation of pride of the world. Because all the philosophy, all the teaching for unification of mankind is already there, existed there. Like Bharathy was one of those early reformists, you know. So I always pray one day India will shine when all these philosophies are put into practice. And I'm so glad that I have been guided to this religion, which practices all the philosophies, Vandre Kulam Urvane Devan, all these kind of things. So it motivated me throughout all my life. And today I'm very glad that you gave a talk on these subjects. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I wanted to tell you something that the madam previously talked to me. She has also that my young Dublin ma'am, she has also told the same thing like regarding the caste system. But nowadays, I told earlier, as I repeat it again, nowadays it is becoming lesser. The difference is becoming lesser, and it will not be in future, I suppose, as you wish. And you wish also as to become very good the India which was dreamed by Bharathy. So his dream will definitely come true. Kanavu மெய்ப்பட வேண்டும், that's what I sang. கனவு மெய்ப்பட வேண்டும், கைவசமாவது விரைவில் வேண்டும். So his all of the famous leaders' dreams will definitely come true. There is no doubt.
The other one is Nallador. I'm sorry, I just called this song is very well. நல்லதோர் வீணை செய்தே அதை நலம் கெட புழுதியில் எரிவதுண்டோ. This is India. It's a beautiful country, but it has been, you know, misconceived. So that's favorite song of mine also, and I think it is Bharathy's handiwork. Thank you.
Okay, ma. Thank you so much, ma.
Thank you. And I think Nisha and then Sandanam have their comments. Please unmute, Nisha.
Yeah, thank you, Uma, for that wonderful talk on Bharathy. That was really very uplifting to, you know, listen to his contribution to mankind, actually. And I wrote a small haiku for your great grandfather, so I'm going to read it to you now.
Yeah, definitely.
I heard you talk about how he had actually participated in I don't know whether I suppose he didn't write haikus, but he did comment on the Japanese haikus and how he thought it was very brief. But that is only my capacity. I can't write long poems. So here's a dedication. Here's a dedication to him.
Please. Yeah.
So the title of the haiku is Mahakavi Bharathy.
Wow.
A poet, writer, how Tamil is beautiful, the gift to mankind.
Yeah, really.
Say that
He is
again.
equivalent to Bharathy is Tamil, Tamil is Bharathy. So, the gift of Tamil is Bharathy. Superb. Very nice, Nisha. Very nice.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
haiku is like a haiku.
I tried to keep to the
a small glimpse of your heart came into that poem.
I just tried to keep to the 5-7-5 syllable. I don't know if I did a good job, but that's my small dedication to him.
Superb.
Thank you.
Nisha, do you want to put that in the chat?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And Sandanam, you want to unmute?
Thank you for this nice talk. And during my childhood too, I studied these poems of Bharathiya, very touching. And so he's indeed a great poet. And there were so many other dimensions you have unfathomed today. What I would like to ask you is that I have read about Bharathiya feeding the birds and his love for the birds and all that. Yes, can you shed some light on that aspect of his compassion, kindness, and things like that?
Yeah, definitely I can say. See, one time Chelamal Bharathy has kept some rice for cooking. She told to remove the stones in the rice, from the rice, to remove the stones from the rice. She has given it and went for hospital. But at the same time, Bharathy was sitting in the front, Tinnai, we used to call the bench outside our house. He was sitting over there and removing the stones from the rice given by Chellamal. But in front of his house, some sparrows were chirping over there in hunger. So immediately he thrown the rice to the sparrows, and he has emptied the vessel. He has emptied the vessel and gave all the rice which was kept for cooking. That was the only rice for that day's food. There is nothing else is left over there, because he was in so much of poverty, that all we know. And that even that today and that day rice was emptied by Bharathy. Kakai Kuruvi Engal Jadi Kadal Nadiyum Malayum Engal Kutam, he has sung that song over there. And when Chelama returned from the hospital, she saw that all that rice are outside, was kept outside the floor in front of the house. And she has shouted at Bharathy like anything. And then, why did you waste all this? See, Bharathy replied casually in a cool manner that these are all also, it's a living beings. We have to feed them. And how he is, without having a single food, he has given everything to that sparrows. This was happened on that day.
Ina?
Sir, we can't hear you. Sandanam sir, are you there?
Maybe his
network has come problem, I think.
Maybe a problem.
Yeah.
Ina has a comment or question.
Yeah. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Talking about this poetry and the love, I'm reminded of the very old song I was taught by Mr. Ramanaido and Ganesan. Ganesan is Panja's late husband. And they came to Thailand and I was there in 1978 or 79.
Okay.
Long time ago. So they were singing Mannaka Marambarama Marataka Elabarama
கொடிக்கு காய் வாரமா, பெற்றெடுத்த குழந்தை தாய்க்கு பாரமா.
And then the meaning, I love the tune itself. And then they told the meaning. Oh my God, I was so beautiful. He says, is the fruits heavy for the tree? Is a child heavy for a mother?
Yeah.
Yes, I was just thinking now, when this going to my mind. So when a mother grows old, if the is a mother heavy for a child? I'm asking. You see,
even though she's having the child in her womb, it will not be a burden to her. That's
Yes.
what the writing says.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I love this, and I love the Tamil prayers as well. So one day, my doctor, I was talking to my doctor, and before we parted, because it was in the hospital, before you go, can I say prayers with you? So he agreed. So I said the Tamil prayer that I learned, and then he said, this prayer is about remover of difficulties, and say God suffices. And then he said, can I record it? Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. But this song was written by poet Surada, not by Bharathy. Anyway, it is a very good song.
Mannaka Maram Param.
Mannaka Maram Barama. It is written by Kavingar Surada.
Oh.
And it happened in the film Thai Pirandal Vazhi Pirakam. It was sung by Rajeshwari. She has a very childish voice. Mannukku maram barama, marathukku ilai barama, kodikku kaai barama, பெற்றெடுத்த குழந்தை தாய்க்கு பாரமா. Hey, Pancha Pillai, ma'am, sang very well.
You know why? That used to be one of the songs in class. My teacher would ask me to sing.
Super.
I love that song. Thank you.
There is also a song, a poem that Bharathy wrote, where he said that there is no food for one person.
தனி ஒருவனுக்கு உணவில்லை எனில் ஜகத்தினை அழித்திடுவோம். He used to say like that. But one of the professor, Shankar Narayanan, has says these terms in a different mode. Actually, தனி ஒருவனுக்கு உணவில்லை எனில் ஜகத்தினை அழித்திடுவோம். அழித்தல் means some used to say as destroy. But we, the people of South Tamil Nadu, see, we belong to Etayapuram, that you already know. We used to say அழித்தல் means reform. Reform. இப்போ நான் இந்த செயினை அழிச்சு நெக்லஸ் பண்ணிட்டேன். See, when I say like that, I made the chain and I reformed it as a necklace. So, in our South Tamil Nadu, the அழித்தல், the word means reform. So, that Pulavar Shankara Narayanan explained these words, தனி ஒருவனுக்கு உணவில்லை எனில் ஜகத்தினை அழித்திடுவோம். If he destroys the word, he himself will also be destroyed. So, how Bharathy can say this word? So, he doesn't mean it like destroy. he told that it is to be reformed. All that vacant land are to be reformed as wetlands. So அந்த நிலம் வந்து அழிக்கப்பட்டு, வெற்று நிலம் அழிக்கப்பட்டு நஞ்சை நிலமாகவோ புஞ்சை நிலமாகவோ மாற்றப்பட்டால், அழித்து வேறு விதமாக ஆக்கப்பட்டால், அதுதான் அழித்திடுவோம். மீன்ஸ் தனி ஒருவனுக்கு உணவில்லை எனில் we will transform this dry land to wetland.
The whole world, yes. So that means, he was concerned about every man in this world should have food to eat.
Minimum food, shelter also. காணி நிலம் வேண்டும், காணி நிலம் வேண்டும், பராசக்தி காணி நிலம் வேண்டும். அங்கு தூணில் அழகியதாய் நன் மாடங்கள் துய்ய நிறத்தினதாய், நல்ல வெள்ளவிளேர்னு தூண் வேணுமா அவருக்கு மாளிகை. Like that he used to say, a beautiful house with white pillars erected over there. It should contain a beautiful well. It should contain a coconut tree around that, coconut trees around that. 10-12 தென்னை மரம் பக்கத்திலே வேணும். Around 12 coconut trees around that house. The well has to be reformed. And பத்தினி பெண் ஒன்று பக்கத்திலே வேணும். He need a woman
virgin
along with that. பக்கத்திலே பத்தினி பெண் வேண்டும். இதெல்லாம் விட்டாரு. In the end of the poem he has sung that, பாட்டு திறத்தாலே அம்மா நின்றன் காவல் உற வேண்டும். You have to make a secure, you have to be a security for us in that house. Also he said, பாட்டு திறத்தாலே இவ்வையத்தை பாலித்திட வேணும். I have to protect this world with my songs. என் பாட்டு திறத்தாலே இவ்வையத்தை, வையம் means world, I have to patronage this whole world with my songs. That is his high aim.
What are some of the...
May I ask another question about
please sir.
affinity of Indian current Prime Minister Mr. Modi towards Bharatiyar and also Thiruvalluvar?
Yeah, he has so much of love and fondness over Bharatiyar and Thiruvalluvar, and even Modi used to say the song of Bharatiyar and Tirukural in his every meeting. He used to say, because he is respecting the language Tamil. So Thiruvalluvar and Bharatiyar made this world know Tamil very well. That's why Modi ji is having a respect over Bharatiyar and Thiruvalluvar, and he used to tell in his every meeting 2 lines of Bharati and as well as 2 lines of Tirukural.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
What are some of the characteristics of the new woman that Bharati?
புதுமை பெண். ஆமா.
What
The
are some
word புதுமை. Ma'am. இல்ல, I couldn't hear you properly.
புதுமை பெண்ணே எழுந்திரு என்று சொல்லி.
Very nice, very nice. And the புதுமை பெண், the word was coined by him only. That word, see, we used to say nowadays புதுமை பெண். It is not because of Bharathidasan, it is not because of Kannadasan, it is not because of Vairamuthu, only because of Bharati. Bharati kanda pudumai pen.
New woman.
Ama. Bharati kanda pudumai pen. People used to say that like that only. Pudumai pen means Bharati's pudumai pen.
So what are the characteristics that he put?
Yeah. நிமிர்ந்த நன்னடை நேர்கொண்ட பார்வை நிலத்தில் யார்க்கும் அஞ்சாத நெறிகளும் திமிர்ந்த ஞான செருக்கும் இருப்பதால் செம்மை மாதர் திரும்புவதில்லையா. This is what the nature of the women, he said. நிமிர்ந்த நன்னடை நேர்கொண்ட பார்வை. She should straight, her sides should be straight. She should walk straight. And she should not have fear over anybody in this world. நிலத்தில் யார்க்கும் அஞ்சாத நெறிகளும் திமிர்ந்த ஞான செருக்கு. Jnana cherukku means wisdom. She must have the proud over her wisdom. That is what he said. See, if we are wise, automatically some proudness will be getting into our heart. Automatically we will be proud of our knowledge. So he told like that only. Jnana cherukku. That is not because of the wealth. See, I have so much of money. I have so much of jewels. That proudness is not because of that wealth. It is purely because of the knowledge. That is the main thing he told for women.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else wants to say anything? Colin, Arumugam, Sivanathan.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you very much for introducing me to someone I never knew about before, and I think it's wonderful to see someone who's so gifted to use those gifts for improving humanity and social conditions. And while you were talking, I looked up Wikipedia, and everything you said was true.
Immediately he has gone into to have a clarity about my talk. Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, most welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, one and all. Shall I take leave, sir? Is the meeting over?
Yes, I have one comment. Yung, you want to say something?
Yes, Yuma, you should be at Sydney Opera House. So you should come to Sydney and sing at the Opera House.
Definitely, I make a visit, ma.
That would be wonderful. And can you just please tell me, can people use social revolution to achieve social reform? And is that a wisdom to do that? Because in history, we saw a lot of revolutions, but they never achieved social reform. They still have, upper class, middle class, and the other class. So what I'm saying, revolution will not be the good way to achieve social reforms. So for what you have told us, I believe that your family have been going through the peaceful time. Your grandfather have been going through peaceful time. I know about Gandhi, but I mean, how many revolutions has our country have been going through? Just like all other countries, like French, they have revolutions more frequently. More frequent as I can see so through social media. Social media tell you everything. So, and American has social revolution, you just see the media, they tell you a lot of things. So, but I don't think it's a good wisdom if people follow the path, like use revolution or riots or protests to have social reforms, because it's not religious, not like religious order. Thank you, Uma.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you, and
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I really appreciate Uma Bharathy for your time, and God bless you.
Thank you so much
Continue
for your
to send the messages of Bharathy to the whole world. And thank you, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Thank you,
one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Romba nandri.
Nandri, ma.
Thank you very much.
Very good to see you. Very good to see one of the family members of Bharathy.
Definitely, ma. The pleasure is mine to see you all in a same screen. I'm seeing everyone's face with a brightness. With a brightness, I see everyone, Dr. Kanda and Arumugam sir, Vasantama, Pinama. See, everyone is having a very, very nice mind. See, in the beginning itself, I told that when we say Bharathy, we will be having goosebumps, I told. So, everyone has joined for Bharathy this day, and you made me this day. And I thank you very much, one and all.
This is part of your celebration, 100-year celebration.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma.
So
And
how do we
ma'am,
contact you? How do we correspond with you?
yeah, you can get my number from Siva sir, and definitely you can have a talk with me over phone. Nothing hidden to be there, because we are all for social reform, as madam say, Mayang Dublin ma'am say, na, we are all into social reforms to make the nation, make the world in under one roof, under one roof. Yeah. And thank you so
Where
much.
are you based in Sydney? Where are you based in Australia?
No,
I'm not in Australia. I'm in India.
Okay, okay.
India.
Yes, I can share the number with anyone who is interested.
Thank you, thank you.
Madam, India, which part are you from India? Madam?
Chennai. Right now I'm in
Oh,
Chennai.
Okay,
Here.
next time come to Chennai, I'll meet you.
Definitely, Armugam sir. So nice of you. So nice of you. You can have my number from Shiva sir. Everyone, please take my number and do communicate with me. And thank you, one and all. I take immense pleasure to be with you this evening.
Thank you.
Have a nice time ahead to one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.